up, guys? This is Allie and Evan on the Young Folks Oscar Panel, where we'll debate our picks for the 87th Academy Awards with our other writers from the team, which are pretty much all over the country. So that's awesome. So enjoy. Okay.
And we're back.
Oh dear.
That was really close. Hey, we're back again. We're going to be talking about the screenplay categories today. Jose, you excited to talk about screenplays?
Always.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So why don't we start with Best Adapted Screenplay? So we got on the list Jason Hall for American Sniper, Graham Moore for The Imitation Game, Paul Thomas Anderson, old PTA, for Inherent Vice, Anthony McCartan for The Theory of Everything, and Damien Chazelle for Whiplash.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird group of people.
Yeah.
Kind of boring.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
really
why I wanted
get
to get out of
why
the
the
way.
Theory of Everything is in here.
I don't know why The Imitation Game is in here.
Yeah, I don't get why either of those are
Though,
in
because
here.
we've talked about this before, they're completely driven by the performance of the lead actors as those characters.
And it's because I haven't seen Inherent Vice yet, so I'm not going to go PTA.
Nor have I. Have you seen it?
Inherent Vice?
No, haven't gotten the chance.
Damn. Well, we can assume that his is probably the best. But
Yeah. Okay, but just, for the ones that we've seen, I would probably pick Whiplash anyway.
Me too.
I'm with you.
He wrote the script so that he could make a movie about a music performer seem like a thriller. Which is,
Yes.
they put the same amount of stakes and intimidation and thrills into the movie as if it was like an edge of your seat, thriller movie. Which, because I said that yesterday, I was at the edge of my seat by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
What is going to happen? And the fact that we couldn't predict it, and
I
it's
was
kind
sweating.
of a vital. It's an.
Like that symbol.
But yeah, so you're thinking the same thing, huh?
Yeah, I judge a lot of stuff about movies when I take my friends or people who don't see as many movies to the theater with me. I took my girlfriend to see this because she's a musician and she played the drums growing up. And when we got out of the movie, she told me that right up to that crescendo when he gets up for his last performance, she said she was holding her breath. I think that's exactly what he was going for because that movie builds so well. And I think you guys are talking about Imitation Game and Theory of Everything. I think those have to be kind of the most cliche, the script that's put together, the way that they teach you to put the script together.
Kind of similar to how I was talking about those films we were discussing editing or cinematography. There wasn't anything interesting in the way that the story framing those outstanding men, there wasn't anything captivating
Nothing
in
made
the
it
frame
at
of their
all.
lives that they
Yeah.
were really putting together.
My favorite screenplay wasn't nominated for this category, which was for Obvious Child, because it would have
Okay.
been adapted, because Obvious Child was first a short film. Same with, I think Whiplash was based on something like a short story or something, I'm not sure.
Really?
But
Okay.
it wasn't as conventional as the others, in the same way that Obvious Child would have been. And Obvious Child to me is the most smart, funny, heartfelt script of the year. So the fact that that wasn't ignored already annoys me. So this category is kind of just kind of floating for me because I'm they could have really gone out there and done something a little more interesting instead of just picking two dudes to fill the spots, which is just annoying. But,
Well, and not to add another dude to the mix, but if you were going to throw a nomination to a biopic, I would have given it to Get On Up, which I think took some really interesting chances with the way it's structured.
yeah.
And I think there's some really cool stuff in that movie. I don't think that movie got as much love as it deserved, in my opinion. I think it does way more interesting things telling the story of James Brown than either one of these two.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
that's-
Even with
that's
Selma, but I don't know if
Yeah,
Selma was based
or even
on
Selma.
Adapted.
But who do we think the Academy's going to pick out of these? I feel like they'd go with something boring.
Maybe American Sniper or
Yeah.
something,
Well, the
because
thing
that was
is
the
that-
surprise nomination.
The thing is that when you think about it in the structure of that book, and there were these things in the film to give it a dramatic arc. There was the butcher guy, and there was his kind of his arch nemesis, Dark Sniper or whatever. They were completely made. They were fictitious creations to build drama and kind of give it an arc. Keep giving him a reason to go back, because for some people, putting, you know, other men's life on the line by not being there, because that's the entire point of him as a character. But so that's the thing, is that I feel like that it's nominated for that. I feel like it wouldn't win for that because it made up its own things.
I don't think it's gonna win because it's the best. I think it'll win because of the politics, and because, again, it caught the train at the right time. It's the hype.
Yeah.
It's the hype machine, hardcore.
90 million opening weekend. That's crazy.
In January.
Yeah.
It's so disappointing.
It's kind of like, it's a weird runaway. Not to like compare it because it has nothing to do with it, but it kind of just weirdly resonated with a lot of America in the way that Forrest Gump did when that came out. Nobody expected it to be an award season favorite, and all of a sudden there it came.
That's an interesting comparison. I wouldn't have thought about that, but when you said that, that's a really good point. I think the Academy will either go American Sniper, or if they're feeling, I don't know, like they want to be cool, then maybe PTA will get it. And I would love to say more, but I just haven't had the chance to see Inherent Vice.
Well, why don't we move on then to Best Original Screenplay? Let's move on to those. Birdman, written by Alejandro Inarritu and like 3 other people. Boyhood by Richard Linklater and Life. Foxcatcher by Emax Fry and Dan Futterman. Grand Budapest Hotel by Wes Anderson. And Nightcrawler by Dan Gilroy. Can I just interject that this is the thing that Nightcrawler is nominated for, and I freaking loved Nightcrawler so much.
Nightcrawler was awesome.
Oh, man. Because I watched it as all this Deflategate stuff was coming around, and I've just been thinking about how the, what?
I didn't think it was just a bizarre comparison.
No, hear me out. No, because the film totally illustrates how seedy the working in the media and journalism can actually be. But then the other thing is that Jake Gyllenhaal completely drove that performance and owned it. But the way that his character was written was just terrifying.
I love that in recent years we've been able to get an actual look at the screenplays because the studios will make them available, right?
Yes.
And have you guys looked at the one for Nightcrawler?
Yes, I did. I was skimming through it as soon as I finished watching it.
Yeah, there's some really cool kind of stylistic things that are in the script.
Very dynamically written.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think in terms of like if you sat down and read them, that might be the best one of the year out of the ones that are here.
Yeah, I felt exactly the same way when I was skimming through the script for Birdman after the second time that I had seen it. It didn't do those same things that we were talking about, but the flow of all the characters' interactions is just like with the ensemble. You're picturing it in your head, and obviously the how it's a continuous flow of story. Birdman accomplishes the same thing. It's just not written or scripted in that way.
Birdman, that's where that's my Sophie's choice. Birdman or Nightcrawler.
Yeah, that's exactly the position that I'm in. Because, like I said, Boyhood, they were kind of...
Boyhood isn't written.
It's not. That's why I said it's written by Life. Just like everybody, like when they go on these junket tours, I've seen a montage of, Linklater and Ethan Hawke and L.R. Coltrane talking about it took 12 years to make, took 12 years to make, took 12 years to make. I'm like, yeah, and when you met every year, I think it was great that they kind of collaborated with the actors each year. They would come back and like say to L.R. Coltrane, like what's kind of impacted you in your life this year? Every year they were doing it, and I think that that's a great way to structure such an experimental movie like Boyhood, but that's not a script.
No.
They did that with the Before films.
Yeah, that's what I was...
But if they deserved any nominations, it was for the Before films, because they had a back and forth dialogue.
Because you have that 9-year gap. You're actually writing a script, not coming up with ideas every year.
But my pick...
Mm-hmm.
Budapest. Grand Budapest deserves this award. No to anything else. Everything else is performance-driven or theatrical, and there's something added to it. Wes Anderson's script for Grand Budapest is lyrical. Nobody did dialogue like he did dialogue for this film. Every bit of dialogue and every bit of the script was so perfectly crafted to whoever was speaking. And that takes a genius writer to understand exactly who's going to be talking, how to target them, how to make it so that it's funny, but it's melancholy, and it's sweet, but it's like aggressive. There are so many things and undercurrents to the script, and it's like just a genius script that I think has gone a little overlooked, disappointingly. So I want to win. Yeah, Grand Budapest.
Yeah.
Jose?
I did enjoy Budapest a lot. I don't know if it's that thing that always happens this time of the year where it was, when did that come out? This summer,
March.
right?
No, it came out last March.
Wow. that's
March,
funny.
wow, which is, it's amazing, one, that it had the staying power to still be around and be talked about. You know, you're kind of convincing me a little bit that maybe my Sophie's choice should be Nightcrawler and
Grand
Budapest. But yeah, I don't think you can put me all the way over the top. I
She's
think
good at doing that.
very persuasive. I know.
I think Boyhood's gonna win. Because Richard
Just because they're
Linklater-
not thinking about
No,
it? or-
because Richard Linklater is a huge presence in the writers section of the nominators.
Yeah.
The Academy are gonna love him. So, and in the same way that I think PTA could sneak up there is because they have their small faction of fans, and everybody else getting voted for, it might let him sneak in. So, yeah, I think Linklater could take it.
Awesome. Jose, who do you think might take it with the Academy?
I think Boyhood has a really good shot, and if not, I would say Birdman, because I think that one speaks maybe to the people in the Academy, just because it is a little bit about the craft of not necessarily movie making, but the craft of acting and theater and all that, and maybe it'll resonate with them.
But
All right. Well, thanks for joining us and talking about the written scripted form, Jose. Where can fans find you on Twitter?
Twitter at Jose Cordova, which is just my name, and yeah, find me writing on the Young Folks. Usually do some TV writing.
Right there. All right. Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us.
okay, so what did you guys on the internet think? Make sure you hit us up on Twitter with the hashtag TYF Oscar and tag us at TYF Official at EvGriff, 2 Fs, 42, and Allison with a Y, AJ, and our guest Twitter. We'll be back for more talking about the nominees tomorrow. So until then, thanks for watching, and remember to join us on Oscar night.